You wake up, check your phone, and before you even said good morning to God, your peace is gone. One text, one headline, one thought. Peace used to mean silence. Now it means notification pause. And the strange thing is, we keep buying peace that doesn't last. A weekend away, a new playlist, a scented candle that promises calm but melts faster than our patience. The world offers us temporary relief and calls it peace. But Jesus offers something better. He said in John 14:27, "Peace I leave with you, my peace I give you. I do not give to you as the world gives." Let's pause there. Jesus didn't say, "I will remove your chaos." He said, "I'll give you peace in the middle of it." That is a peace you can't lose. We like to think that peace means everything is under control. Bills paid, grades up, group chat drama quiet, relationship stable. But let's be honest. When was life ever fully under control? If your peace depends on control, you will always lose it. Because the moment something shifts, peace disappears. That's why Jesus said, "My peace I give you." He's offering peace that doesn't depend on the condition of your life, but the condition of your heart. Look at the context of John 14. Jesus was hours away from betrayal and the cross. The disciples were confused, scared, and about to face loss they didn't understand. And that's when Jesus said, "Peace I live with you." Peace isn't a promise that problems will disappear. It's the presence of Christ when they don't. You might say, "But I just wanted things to be calm." Jesus says, "I want your heart to be calm, even when things aren't." When the disciples were in the storm, their fear made sense. The waves were real, but so was Jesus. In the same boat at the same time. They thought peace meant still water. Jesus showed them peace means trusting the one who commands the water. Isaiah 26:3 says, "You will keep in perfect peace those whose minds are steadfast because they trust in you." Perfect peace doesn't mean a perfect life. It means a settled mind. Peace starts in your thoughts. Where your mind goes, your emotions follow. If your mind stays on the problem, anxiety grows. If your mind stays on God, peace grows. Isaiah wrote this during chaos. The people of Judah were surrounded by threats. Everything looked unstable, yet he said, "You will keep them in perfect peace whose minds are steadfast." He didn't say, "You will give peace to those whose lives are easy." He said, "Those who trust you." Trust is the soil, the foundation where peace grows. Your situation might not change today, but what if your focus did? What if you said, "God, I can't fix this, but I trust you with it"? That shift changes everything. When your mind focuses on Christ, you don't deny reality, you redefine it. You start to see that God is bigger than your fear. What gets your attention gets your peace. If you feed fear, fear grows. If you feed faith, peace grows. You can't have perfect peace with a divided mind. You get to decide who gets the final word, your circumstances or your Savior. I wanted to open up with you for a moment. This message is for me first. I battle with anxiety most of my life. I'm the kind of person who can be in a happy moment and still wait for something bad to happen. It's not because I want to, it's because my mind was trained that way. Growing up in an unstable home, I learned early that peace doesn't last. So even now as an adult, when things are going well, my mind whispers, "Enjoy while it lasts." Something's about to go wrong. That's the loop that anxiety traps you in. It's not logical. Is automatic. And for a long time, I hated hearing people say, "Just have faith," or "Don't worry about tomorrow." Because when you live with anxiety, it's not that simple. You can't just push a button and turn off fear. Faith isn't instant, it's practiced. That's how this sermon came to be. Because God doesn't just give me words to preach, He gives me lessons to live. So I'm learning to recognize the loop when it starts, to pause, to breathe, and to give that thought to God before it grows. Sometimes I have to do it 10 times in a day, but every time I do it, it gets a little easier, and little by little, His peace becomes more real than my fear. Maybe that's what Isaiah meant when he said that God keeps in perfect peace the one whose mind is steadfast. Because peace isn't the absence of anxious thoughts. It's learning where to take them. So if you're watching this and you deal with anxiety too, I want you to know you are not weak. You are human. And the same God who's teaching me to rest can teach you too. Sometimes peace doesn't make sense to others. You've probably seen someone walking through loss, sickness, or disappointment, and yet they have calm in their spirit. That's the kind of peace Jesus gives. It's not logical, it's spiritual. He promised peace right before his arrest. The next day, he would hang on a cross. He didn't speak peace after the storm. He spoke it before the storm began. That's what real peace looks like. It's not the calm after the chaos. It's the calm in the chaos. And maybe you've been asking God to remove what makes you anxious. But what if He wants to reveal peace that stands even when nothing changes? Philippians 4:7 says, "The peace of God which transcends all understanding will guard your heart and minds in Christ Jesus." This peace guards you. It stands like a shield when everything else is shaking. It doesn't mean you won't cry or feel pressure. It means that those feelings don't have the power to rule you anymore. You can be tired but not torn apart. You can be confused but not consumed. You can be surrounded but still secure. That's peace you can't lose. Mark 4:35 tells us about the night Jesus calmed the storm. He says to his disciples, "Let's go to the other side." They obey. The wind rises and the waves crush. And Jesus, he's asleep. And that's not how we picture peace right now. But Jesus could sleep in the storm because he knew who controlled it. Peace doesn't come from escaping the storm. It comes from trusting the one who is in it with you. The disciples panic. "Teacher, don't you care if we drown?" Jesus wakes up, stands, and says, "Peace, be still." And immediately everything calms. Then he turns to them and asks, "Why are you so afraid? Do you still have no faith?" He wasn't rebuking them for being scared. He was reminding them, "You didn't need to wake me up. You needed to remember who is with you." You can have Jesus in your life and still live like he's asleep. You can believe in him and still panic when the waves rise. But if the same Jesus who calmed the seas live in your heart, then no storm can destroy your peace. Peace doesn't mean pretending everything is fine. It means living with confidence that God is still good when everything isn't. It means choosing trust over panic, faith over control, prayer over worry. So when you wake up anxious, talk to him before you talk to anyone else. When your schedule feels overwhelming, pause and remind yourself, I am not alone in this. When you start replaying every worst case scenario in your mind, say it out loud. God, I trust you. Peace isn't automatic, it's practiced. Not through steps, but through daily surrender. Every time you choose to trust, you make room for peace to grow. Every time you release control, your heart becomes lighter. You won't always feel peace instantly, but over time, your reaction starts to change. You begin to respond instead of react, to breathe before you break, to wait before you worry. That's what it means to live from peace, not for it. When peace becomes real in you, people notice. They start asking, how are you so calm right now? And you get to say, it's not me, it's him. The world doesn't need people who just talk about peace. They need people who live it. Not because everything is perfect, but because Christ is present. Every time you respond with peace instead of panic, you show what God is like. You remind people that faith works in real life. Peace is not just what God gives, it's who He is. And when you walk with Him, His peace shows through you. What is stealing your peace right now? Don't rush past this question. Maybe it's fear about the future. Maybe it's a relationship that keeps draining your heart. Maybe it's a guilt from the past that you can't shake. Whatever it is, imagine placing it in God's hands right now. You can't hold both control and peace. One has to go. So release it. Say it quietly, Jesus, I trust you with this. Isaiah says God will keep you in perfect peace. That means peace is not something you chase. It's something He maintains as you keep trusting. You do your part, trust. He does His, keep you. Let's read John 14:27 again. Peace I live with you. My peace I give you. I do not give as the world gives. That's the difference between temporary peace and lasting peace. The world gives peace that depends on comfort. Jesus gives peace that depends on connection. The world gives peace that lasts until the next crisis. Jesus gives peace that stands through the crisis. The world gives peace you have to protect. Jesus gives peace that protects you. That's the peace you can't lose, because it's not built on your ability to stay calm. It's built on His ability to stay close. Maybe you're listening to this thinking, I want that kind of peace. It's not far away. It's not for the perfect. It's for the trusting. Jesus is still offering it right now. He's not saying, get stronger. He's saying, come to me. That same voice that spoke, peace, be still to the storm, is speaking it to your heart today. Let Him. Before we close, take a breath. Peace isn't found in a sermon. It's found in surrender. And this next part, our discussion, is where peace grows deeper. Because peace doesn't grow in isolation, it grows in community. So stay with us, be honest. Let's talk together about where peace feels hard and how God has met you there. Enjoy us next week for our next message, When the Holidays Hurt. We will talk about what to do when peace feels far away, especially during the holidays. And if you've been watching and you are ready to walk with a community that is learning to leave this peace out, check the description below to join us live.
And I am back. The message that I put at the end for people to join live is because people will be watching this later on YouTube. So I wanted them to know that they can also join us live. In a little bit, I'm going to ask the panelists to join us. But before I do that, I would like to give just some statements of what this online church is and what is not. The online church is a place where this started in a dream of a group of young adults talking at camp meeting to create a space where young adults can worship together, can talk and discuss and grow together. Some of the people said that they didn't even had it. There was one young man that said the nearest church to me is 2 hours away. He's in the middle. Actually, he's in Texas, where it was far from everything. So I was like, hey, why not? We do everything online. Why not have a place, a space? And we decided to make everyone is welcome. I don't care what age you are. I'm obviously not a young adult, but the topics and the things we're dealing here is specific for the young adults and the transitions in life. But this can work for anybody. So if you're older and you like to be with us, you are welcome. What this space is not, this is not a substitute for in-person gathering. I do believe it was Jesus Christ that started church. It was Him who started. And if you read the book of Acts, you see the importance of church and the importance of church community. So this is not for you to not have an in-person gathering, because I think we need that. But this is for those people that for some reason were hurt by the church and left and are still wanting to have a community. This may be a bridge for you to give some time and find the right community for you to join. So, and I know there's going to be people that say, hey, I'm done with church in person and this is it or nothing else. I'm still going to welcome you. I'm not going to turn anyone away. But I just want you to know this is not the intention of this is not to take you away from your church. Now, I'm advertising this on different social media. So people are coming here from all different backgrounds. Uh, Things that may be said in the discussion, either in the chat or the people that are going to come in a little bit, people may have different doctrines and beliefs, different than what I believe, but we welcome our beliefs. We respect our beliefs, even though I believe that each person that are here have their own denomination. We are respectful to other denominations. And I think this is it for the little, how do you say, like a statement that I wanted to say. So I wanted to invite the panelists to turn on your cameras and turn on your mics. And today I have a special guest, my friend Pastor Mario, that he's joining us from Utah. Pastor Mario and I don't even know when we met. I don't remember. But I know that we are taking a class together. We're doing a doctorate in ministry together. We are focusing mass media ministry. And he is my colleague, co-student. How do you say that? Anyways, Mario, why don't you tell us a little bit about you, and then the rest will introduce themselves as well.
Yes. Hello, everyone. Pleasure to be here. Um, and yeah, I'm pastoring out here in Utah. You know, married with one. Well, my wife's also a pastor, so
Yes.
that's a blessing. And got a 5-year-old. Literally been moved here probably like I've been here 2 months. Well, I was installed like 3 months ago, but I've only been here like I think like 7 Sabbaths. So I got to
Mhm.
catch up on just because I've been out. But yeah, I've been pastoring in this conference for a while now, Nevada Utah conference, Vegas, which is the Vegas area and Utah area. So yeah, I'm happy to be here. You invited us, and just pleasure seeing everyone here in the chat, Terry, and getting to meet other friends and fam. I think that's awesome. That's awesome what you guys are doing here.
Yes, yes, I'm excited about this. And Terry just shared that she has a health condition that this makes this to be the only church that she can gather. And this is awesome. See, that's why we need this kind of space. So let's do alphabetical order. Introduce yourselves, please. Abby, starting with you.
Hello everyone. My name is Abby, and I am, as I said, mentioned earlier, I'm living in Charlotte right now. And I love the Lord, and that's why I'm here with such amazing panelists to have amazing discussions. And it's also wonderful to meet you, Terry, because we've been just communicating back and forth, and I love your vibe. So yeah.
And she's cold, as you can see.
Hey guys, my name's Johnny Villamil. I'm a mortgage loan officer here in Greenville, Spartanburg, South Carolina. Super, super glad to be here. And as Abigail knows, I'm Jamaican at heart, but a Colombian blood, first generation Colombian American. Happy to be here.
Hi, everyone. My name is Lloyd Lang Jr. Happy to be here. I'm an internal auditor. Love talking about God. So, yeah, pretty much
When
that's
when he
it.
says internal, you think that little corner in the back of
Oh,
an
no.
office building that he's hidden. This guy flies, he goes all over the world. Every week he's in a different place. He's in China, he's in Argentina. He makes all of us very, very jealous.
No, no, no. Honestly, I'm happy to be staying in one place for the next couple months because it feels good seeing like your church family because like I definitely agree with what you said like earlier where it's like hey you still need that in-person relationship and one thing I do like about travel is that wherever I go I could always log on to see these sessions in YouTube and like I really do watch it so I'm not saying it to gas or anything no I'm like I legitly do watch it and because it keeps me grounded.
Yeah, and it's another reason for this to exist. Marcus, last but not least.
Hey there, I'm Marcos. I am based in a little town called Hamlet. Um, and I don't know, what else should I say about myself? I'm not as cold as Abby. I've only got a hoodie, so we're good.
It's so interesting because God put this group together. They are from all over different places because I work in the Carolina Conference, which covers North and South Carolina, and I go visit different churches and I met all of them. And when we came together for a camp meeting, I was like, hey, if I start this, would you guys help me out? So basically, they became part of this panel, but I this is something else that I wanted to say and I forgot. Hamlet is in North Carolina. Uh, this panel, it's not to be just for us. I want it to be, I'm not doing like a Zoom meeting where everybody can talk because it can get very confusing and annoying when there's 30 people talking. But I want different people to be part of this. So I want to welcome Terry, Silvana, Sebastian, Mateus, an iPhone guest that I don't know who it is. But if you want to be part of the panel, let me know. And every week I'm scheduling different people and I'm always looking for people. So if you want to be part of it, just let me know. Okay, I think I'm going to start with the question that I did online. And because this is very personal, I'm not going to direct at one person like I usually do. Raise your hand if you want to answer this one. Is there anything robbing your peace right now? Remember the chat, you are also participating, okay? It's not just the panel. You can also put it in the chat. Johnny, go.
Yes. So, one of the answer choices was financial. For those who know me personally, about a year ago, I left the my life's work. I studied nursing. I'm a nursing major. I left the healthcare industry to go into the real estate industry, where you go from a salary job to a 100% commission job. And well, it's been a journey for sure. It has been a huge pay cut as one starts off in a commission only job, but oh my gosh, it is brutal. I am currently under poverty guidelines. If I weren't with my family, I would be on the streets, and that's not an exaggeration. Um, but the Lord has provided in many ways. But without a doubt, the biggest thing in my life right now, which keeps me up every single night, is finances. That's
Edit.
my life.
I can definitely see that is tough. Lloyd.
For me, I feel like the older I get in life, the more I realize your peace is always going to be under attack. It's always going to be under attack. Like just this week alone, like my dad, he went to the emergency room. And like right now I also have busy seasons and just relationships in general. Sometimes things are working out very great, and then out of nowhere, things get crazy, whether it's like with coworkers or with family members, relationships. It goes all over, and it's one of those things where I feel like it goes back what you were saying is that sometimes like you're going to be in a chaotic situation, but you got to find the peace in the situation for sure.
Yes, absolutely. Let me see here. I want two people to answer me this. Maybe Abby and Pastor Mario. When you hear the word peace, what comes to mind for you personally? What does peace look like for you? Either one
I
of
don't
you
know.
can.
Yeah, Abby, you go first. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. For me, peace is calm, peace is unproblematic, and peace is also joy.
I
Peace
like
is
that.
something that everyone should want in life. And I'll tell you, I'm 21. I've come to realize a lot of young adults do not want peace, and they don't realize it because they're just doing all these chaotic things and these things that are not bringing them peace, not bringing them joy. And it's like, oh, well, I got to do this. I have to do that. And it's like, no, have you read your Bible? Well, like I be doing my devotion and I got this Bible app but did you talk to the Lord about it? Peace is just for me is genuine joy because when I'm at peace, I am joyful. And
Yes.
right now, I'm going through a little something, something, and my peace is in jeopardy. And I don't like it. But we're talking to the Lord about it.
Amen. Amen. Pastor Mario.
Yeah, for me, peace is not easy. Um, so whatever definition I'm gonna give or what I feel peace is I say it like it's easier said than done, clearly. But peace for me is being okay with not being in control.
Mm.
That's what I get. Coming to terms to not being in control of things and being okay at the same time.
Yeah.
That's not easy. I'm not saying like, oh, just, but in the end, it is. That's what it is. It's okay to be like, hey, I don't, you want control. We're humans, right? You want to be in control. You want to have things figured out. You want to know what's gonna make sure you do what you have to do in order to make sure that future or that present is worked out. But peace is like, hey, I'm not in control of this, but you know what? I'm good with it. Um, and I think that's where God has to come in, right? To give us that, because I can't attain that on my own.
Absolutely. Silvana, she answered, until recently, because we finally recuperated our peace, the political turmoil, the hurt that's being felt throughout the world, the physical hunger happening throughout the world, the pain felt by so many for so many reasons, so heavy. Yes, and actually, it's exactly because of this turmoil that is happening right now in our country and in the world. And it's so amazing how this country affects all of the other countries. And that's exactly why I felt that the Holy Spirit inspired me to start this series right now. First, when I started thinking, I was more thinking about the holidays. You know how the holiday is supposed to be like a joyful time, but it's usually chaotic. And sometimes it takes away our peace. But then adding to that is the craziness that our world is living right now. So that was the reason why I was like, no, I'm gonna do a whole series just talking about everything that robs our peace. So the first one, if you guys haven't seen, go back on YouTube. The first one we were talking about, why am I always so tired? Like, is that tiredness that you sleep but you can't recover, you know? The second one, our friend Abby, she was the one who preached it, and it's enough. When enough is, I know. When enough is enough, like the feeling of discontentment, like we're never content with what we have. We always want more, we want more, and that also takes away our peace. And today's topic, so yes, that's what I want to talk about. It. I wanted to hear from you guys how life is just what is happening in life and the world is taking away our peace. That's what we are talking. How do I find this on YouTube? Once somebody's answering, I'll put the link right in the chat here in just a little bit. What do you do? Let's go, Marcus. What when you're feeling your peace being robbed, what is your go-to?
So this is a transparent space, right? I would love to give the right answer and be like, I run to the Lord. That's the first thing I do, but that would not be honest. Um, when I'm struggling with my peace, I tend to isolate um, and just kind of get in my head a lot, disconnect from everything. From the choices that you put in the Q&A, I had to pick one, so I forget
I
which one I picked.
Okay, so it's try to
But
fix the problem, pray or read the Bible, talk to someone I trust, distract myself, or shut down and do nothing.
okay, so my main is really shutting down and doing nothing. But the way that I do that, or one of the methods that I use that, is by distracting myself. Um, and it's a problem because sometimes the thing that is taking my peace is something that I should deal with, and I end up running away from it and just postponing the issue that has to be dealt with. Um, and I think there's this poem that I heard, or was it a prayer? But it's somebody praying, and some of you might recognize it. But it's, Lord, give me like the peace. Give me peace when there's like things that I can't control. Give me the strength to deal with the things that I have to deal with, and give me the wisdom to know the difference between the two. Um, and a lot of the times, that's a prayer that I'm having to find myself making. Like, Lord, let me know when I have to act, because in other times, then I'm panicking, and I don't know why, I tend to panic about the things that I can't change, and then zone out and not move and do nothing about the things that I should be acting on. And sometimes that can be very, very frustrating.
Yeah, that's what I talked about in the sermon. Sometimes it doesn't make sense. Sometimes it's not logical. It's kind of like today I'm a pastor. Today I believe in Jesus. Why is it when something is going well, I still panic? It's because sometimes we have been conditioned in a certain way because, like in my case, I know what it is. It was a very unstable home, which made my life feel like always unstable. And whatever reason it is, we are human. As long as, and that's why I like this kind of conversations, because I have been analyzing this for a long time, but maybe somebody that is watching, maybe one of the panelists, they never thought about it. And from now on, because we brought into the attention, now we are aware. So next time we're like, oh, okay, this is something that this is a pattern that I usually go into when I'm afraid, when my peace is being robbed or something is happening. So what can I do different? And by the way, it's not going to change overnight. Even though it doesn't mean that it's going to change overnight. Let's see here. Johnny, I think you already answered this question. I shouldn't ask you. How often do you feel at peace these days?
How often do I feel peace these days?
Yes,
My
like that.
response to that is, what is peace? I'm not sure what you're talking about. Oh my gosh. I mean, I'll give a very honest answer. Like right now, I feel peace because I'm connected with a good community, healthy people. I'm connected with my family. It's a day off. Weekends are always good. So I don't think it's fair to say that I never have peace. I think if you put yourself in the right environment and if you make an effort to find the right environment, you can feel peace. But most weekdays when you're in between business hours, it's really hard to feel peace. And and I'll tell you, I wanted to comment on the previous question that Marcus was answering. How do you fix that? How do you find peace? How do you react when you don't have peace? One of the answer choices was try and fix it. Try and fix it yourself. And I'll tell you, I'll be very transparent here. ChatGPT has become my best friend. And there's a lot of issues where if like they're tangible or practical or financial or even health, ChatGPT immediately, no second thought. But of course, if it's more of a spiritual issue and I notice that ChatGPT cannot help me as much, then there's other resources. But yeah, peace is a very valuable thing these days, and not everyone has it at all times.
Absolutely. There was something that Abby said that I wanted to just mention something quickly. She said something about, I'm trying to remember the word you said, but was something like your relationship with God. Did you say something like that when you were giving an answer? Or maybe I'm going crazy. Anyways, the point that I wanted to make was the following season is going to be all about relationships, especially relationship with God, because that's where I think is really going to ground us into all of this chaos that we're going through. Okay, let's do Lloyd. Jesus said, "My peace I give you, not as the world gives." What are some ways we tend to look for peace in the world instead of Him right now?
Um, that there's a lot of distractions in this world. It's easy to look at social media. It's easy to look on the other grass where the grass is greener for someone else. Um, it's something where I would say like people look to different things like alcohol, different types of like pornography, different types of addictions or drugs and stuff like that. Or it doesn't necessarily have to be that. It could be gossip or certain times because like I personally feel that if you're going through something and you're talking like let's say if I say, "Hey Abby, I'm going through this. Can I tell you about it?" Right? And then you talk about it good. But then if I'm also going to Marcos and Johnny and Cris and Terry, it's like, no, now you're looking for attention rather than looking for a solution. And it's something where in order to get that solution from God. You have to have that realization, like, hey, I want to actually fix this. I don't want to get distracted by this. I don't want to, like, I don't know, shroud myself from how I truly feel.
And sometimes the distraction is not even something bad. It could
Hmm.
even be something good. The
Yep, yep.
distraction could be work,
Yep,
you
yep.
know?
Like there's a lot of times where some people like they're super stressed out and they just throw themselves in God's work. Be super busy at church, super busy with your family and your children, and that doesn't. It's something where it's like brushing it under a rug is like you're gonna trip over it one day, and it has to be addressed, or it's only gonna magnify and get worse.
Yeah, yeah. Marcos, did you want to say something?
Yeah. Could you just repeat the question just to make sure that I
The
remember?
question. Jesus said that my peace I give you, not as the world gives. What are some of the ways we tend to look for peace in the world instead of Him?
So again, kind of piggybacking. There we go.
I'm so glad I'm not the only one.
Off of part of what Lloyd was saying and what Jesus was saying in the verse, especially in my personal experience, I tend to find myself trying to find not that peace that Jesus says that it goes beyond all understanding, but wanting like regular peace. And the way that I chase that is making sure, like becoming hyper controlling about where I'm going to be, how I'm going to do things, wanting to have everything work out in the way that I want it so that I can have that peace, right? Um, Making plans so that I end up in positions that are going to remove stress per se, which I'm not saying make choices that make you stressed. Don't get me wrong. But a way that I'd feel many of us, or at least if you struggle in the same way that I do, is trying to become hyper controlling, I guess, if I could say it that way.
Yes, what Pastor Mario was
I
saying, the control.
Yeah, I feel like the word you're looking for, maybe, and correct me if I'm wrong, is like you want to put extra boundaries around your life to make sure nothing gets close to what you kind of call is like your peace.
Yeah, like that
Yeah.
whole concept, which is so out there right now, is like, oh, protect your peace. And it's like,
Hmm.
well, the peace is supposed to be a peace that surpasses understanding, right? Where
Yep.
you have peace in the midst of trial, in the midst of tribulation, and not where the regular peace that we expect is, oh, I have no trials and no tribulations. So the way we seem to look for it in the world is finding some tiny bit of the world or trying to create some space in the world where I am faced with no trials and tribulations.
And another thing that Abby said a little earlier, she said that young people sometimes are looking for, we need peace, but we look for other things that take away our peace. How about some of us that are addicted to chaos? And this is something that I had to realize. Okay, confessing my sins right now. When you are a first generation immigrant, first of all, being from South America, life is chaotic naturally. Okay, because you live with a lot of people. Every neighbor takes care of your business. Life is like I go there now after living here for 30 years. I go visit my family, and I'm like, how do you guys live? Because it's like every night they go out, every night they're together, everybody talking at the same time. It's like it's chaos, just the natural way of living. So then we come to United States, and you're first generation immigrant. You have to work to survive. You have to take any jobs that is available. You move wherever the job goes. I lost count, but it looks like in the 30 years that I've been here, I moved about 40 times. Do you understand how much chaos that is? And we don't realize sometimes that as much as I don't want to move, once like 1 year in the same house, I'm already like itching because it's like so sometimes we create our chaos without even realizing it. Of course, because of things that happen in your past, how you're wired and all of that, but that's reality. I want to ask Pastor Mario now. Isaiah 26 reads that God keeps in perfect peace those whose minds are steadfast. What helps you keep your mind focused on God when life feels chaotic?
Yeah, that's a great question. and I remember one of the things that pops up in my mind is COVID time, right? Where people were like, what's going to happen, right? A lot of peace was really, people were struggling with peace during that time. Um, and I think so for me, peace, I've come to well, not me, but I think the Spirit has convicted me that peace is absolutely has a source. So there are and what you guys been talking about, right? Sometimes we'll try to grab that peace from other sources, and they're not there. But I remember one of the things that I talked about during COVID with church family was like everyone was caught up with the news. So they're like, I'm struggling with peace, but a pattern that I saw was like, we're struggling with peace, but you're feeding your mind with just like CNN, Fox, social media, and you want to have that peace, but yeah, but God's not helping me. But your source is all wrong. Like, you want the assurance because we're made to have assurance, right? We're made to want to make sure of things. And it's funny that who was it? I think Johnny was talking about ChatGPT, right? AI. I'm someone who like you're not alone, bro. Like I remember like things happening. It's crazy. It's a stupid illustration, but like I like rides, right? So I went to Universal in Orlando, but I hate free falls. Like I hate them. I hate them with the passion. So I just won't do them. But I did one in Disneyland, the Guardians of the Galaxy one. And I thought it was fun. Like, but I remember when I was doing Guardians of the Galaxy, as I was going in the line, dude, I stress. Like, I stress a lot. And I'm like, so I'm asking questions. Hey, how high do you think this is to my family members, right? Like they were my wife's family members, mother-in-law, and no, it'll be good, it'll be good. But how high is it? Like, do you feel it a lot? Like, and I'm asking. I think that they got annoyed by how much I was asking. When I went to Universal Orlando, there's also free fall. I'm going on ChatGPT and I'm comparing how high this ride is compared to that one. Am I gonna like? I'm kind of crazy like that, but I'm trying to have assurance. Like I want to be sure because in the moment I want to feel at peace that like okay, I'm gonna do this, but I'm gonna be okay. And it's something stupid as that, but in life it's even more real. Like okay, we don't have this job anymore. Lord, I want to make sure. I want to be sure, right? So ChatGPT, like, oh, I'm starting to feel these symptoms, right? WebMD, well, WebMD is a thing of the past, but like ChatGPT now. Hey, what? Am I gonna be good? I sneezed 2 times. So, a lot of times is what is our source? Like God literally is one. Like He's called Jesus is prophesied to be the Prince of Peace. He's that source. And how often do I go? How much am I? What's the ratio of my source of peace to the ratio of other things in life? For me personally, it's a lot of praise. It's a lot of worship. It's a lot of praise and worship. It's really my devotional time for me personally. I've guarded that with my life. I want to say every single day I've been like on it, but it's not true. Like, but it's a very guarded. It's a treasure for me because I need it. Like I'll go crazy. I'll stress for little things, even as a pastor. Like, oh, you've been pastor for a while, but bro, I'm sorry, pastor's not my identity. Being human is my identity. Like I'm a human, and I stress over those things. So I've really guarded that time, which is my praise, my worship, and my scripture reading time. Like Abby was saying, like talking to him actually and being like, look, I can't. I'm really stressing over this. So and it does. Like he does give you that peace, right? But it's a practice thing. That's for me. Having to change from a secular source to the actual source, right?
Yeah, and you said a lot of very, very good things. And that's one of the reasons I invite the people that I invite to come here. Because sometimes we think the pastors got it together, right? We got it. We made it. And we have no worries. We live by faith. And that's not the reality. And that's why I wanted Pastor Myro to be here because he's a young adult like you guys. And he is a human like us going through the same thing. So this is not to just say, oh, we are all in bad shape, so just stay like that because we are all normal. No, no, it's to say, hey, we go through this. You're not alone. And how can we create a community of people that understand each other, not going to be judging each other, but helping each other grow? My dream is one day to stop overthinking, to not have this anxiety, and be able to fully trust in God. The thing is, how do you take Okay, I'm going to give you guys an example that I'm sure everybody that went to school know what this is. But you know is it Pavlov experiment that he did with the dog that was drooling? It was Pavlov. So basically, the dog was conditioned. Every time that he heard the bell, he was fed. And then when even if he didn't see the meat, just by the bell, he was already drooling. When you're conditioned to believe something or to feel something, I haven't seen an experiment yet that unconditions, but I do see God. God can do that because God did a lot for me already, you know? Trust me, I was a lot worse before. But, anyways, I still overthink. I still have a lot of anxiety. But compared to what I was, just so you guys have an idea, my anxiety was so serious that every time that and it was fears, okay, fears of disease, fears of the unknown, what's going to happen tomorrow. If you tell me the story of somebody that fell and broke their arm, I would faint. That's how serious it was. My body would get into such a state of panic that I would faint. I would have to get, I was a kid, I would get a shot and faint. My kids, when I got older, they have to get shots, they have to go to a doctor. I would faint. That's how bad it was. So imagine how these things are, how we are conditioned. So it's not going to change overnight. But God, but how does He train us? He gives us things that happens in life, and I'm going through something like that right now. With a change of financial situation that is happening. It just happened yesterday. So it's like, it's even hard for me to even mention right now. But I am not dying right now of anxiety. So it already shows an improvement. Am I 100% there? No. But God is with me. Amen. Abby, can you think of a time when peace didn't make sense, but you still felt it? And if you can't, maybe somebody else has.
These didn't make sense, but
Yeah.
I felt it. Hmm, that's deep, first of all. That's very deep because, you know what? Let me expose myself a little bit, but not a lot of bit. So I think this is probably like the first time I mentioned it on this platform, but I am in the Army National Guard. And I was 18, I went to basic training. Don't ask me how I ended up there. Don't ask me who let me join. But I was in the cold because I got there October, graduated December. But oddly enough, even though I was going through so much, it was waking up early in the morning, which I don't do, running around in the cold, which I don't like. And on top of that, I was injured. I dislocated my knee twice. I was on crutches, couldn't walk, couldn't run, and I was 100% defeated. And I would say that that time would have been a chaotic time. But oddly enough, I still woke up every morning. I still smiled. I laughed at my battles. And I was still thanking God that I was able to do what I thought I could not have done. He also provided phenomenal females, so phenomenal women that I'm still close with to today, amazing friends. And I never thought about this until you said this, but I will say that was oddly enough a peaceful time
Interesting.
in absolute chaos because I was getting yelled at every day.
Just to understand, basic training, usually how old people are when they go.
So a lot of them do come like not straight out of high school, but like either straight out of high school or college age. So roughly like 18 to 24, that's the age of most people. You do have a few that are like 26 or older, probably one or two in their 30s, not many 40 plus. You would have to go through a whole nother process for that. But it's mainly young adults.
Nice.
It's mainly young adults that are going through basic training, going through the same thing every day, going through the same challenges. And I unfortunately had this serious injury that probably I should have gotten surgery for. Did not get surgery for it. Might need some physical therapy, but it's okay.
Are you okay now?
Oh yeah, my knee aches a little bit when it rains. But other than that, I was walking, I was running out of basic training as if like I could still feel pain every now and then, but based on the level of the injury for it to dislocate twice in that whole chaos and the cold and the uncertainty of if I was going to graduate, oddly enough, I was still at peace because I told myself that God is in control. I will still graduate on time and
Wow.
that He didn't put me here with these amazing people that I've made friends with to not graduate with them. So I would say that was oddly a peaceful time in absolute chaos.
Awesome. Awesome. Lloyd.
Yeah, so as you kind of said, like, has there ever been a moment where you ever felt peace that didn't, like, doesn't make any sense? So I started like thinking about different scenarios that kind of happened in my life, and there's one that kind of stood out. This was like way, way, way before COVID when I first moved down to North Carolina. And I remember my older brother, he was expecting his very first child. And me and my sisters, we were super excited. We bought many gifts. When I'm talking about gifts, we talk baby books for galore, pants, little dresses, stuffed animals. Like I bought like, my first little Bible and all these different things. And we'd like, it was like a basement full of stuff. That's how much we were going above and beyond. Then we went to, like, where my brother lived, and we kind of hosted the whole baby shower, decorated everything. We were so invested, and it was something that my coworkers I was working with at the time, they knew about every step of the way. I was like, it's a girl, like, this and that, and this is what I got her, and like, and I can't wait to take her to Disney World and this and that. And then I remember one day receiving a phone call saying that like, 'cause, like, there's a lot of time there's schedule like delivery dates. So I remember the day before, when it was supposed to happen, I heard news that the mother was being rushed to the emergency room. And it was something where, like, immediately when you hear something like that, you begin to start praying. And it's something where, to make a long story short, there were pregnancy difficulties, and it led to a stillborn. And it was something where I remember crying and praying the night before. And like, imagine praying and crying the night before and going to bed, just leaving it into God's hands. And then the next day you see the news in, like, you hear about it. And then I remember going to work, and it was a kind of a piece where, because like with my coworkers, like, I'd kept them in the loop, because there are certain people that I used to work with where like we still even have the same like prayer group message where we'll pray for each other. So something where they kind of know what just happened. And it was only a piece I could describe as it carried me and kept me during this time. And it was something where, like, obviously for the mother and for my brother, they felt it to a different degree. But it was something where I can't really describe it. It was something where there was just a calmness about it. And then right beneath that calmness, you still, and it sounds sinister, it sounds bad, but there was, I don't want to say joy, not joy in the death, but it was something where it's like, there's certain times where it's like certain things will happen to us in life, and then like the joy of the Lord is still there. Like, it may not be like crazy out in front, but you'll still find moments to smile. You'll still find certain things. And it's something where, like, by the grace of God, they were able to have a child like many years later and stuff like that. And it's something where I could only say that there's a lot of times in life we can't understand why certain things happen to us when it happened. But it's something where I guess for me, I when things are going good, I tell myself God allowed this to happen for a reason, and when things go bad, I say God allowed this for a reason, you know? And it's something where I can say from what they've been through, I've seen how God used that tragedy and form them and mold them and draw them closer to him. And it's something that sometimes some of our worst moments in our lives is where we see God in the greatest.
Yeah, those moments. I love that you said that God allowed. I don't like when people think that God wanted that to happen. You know, God uses, but it doesn't mean that that's what he wanted. I think the only thing that God really, really, really wanted was for all of his children to live joyful, happy lives forever with him.
Hmm.
Everything else is God trying to bring us back to that original plan. Ah, that's deep. That's very deep. But it only makes sense with God. Terry said that the peace that she had, okay, let me read it so I don't. The peace I have in my current circumstance makes no sense. And the only thing that makes sense is God. The fact that you're here, the fact that you're seeking God, the fact that somehow you found us. I think you mentioned that was maybe TikTok. It has to be God. What else can I say? Okay. Let me see, Pastor Mario. I'm trying to think who was the last person that I talked to, but I mentioned before that, like, I have anxiety, and anxiety puts us in a loop of overthinking. Um, what has helped you interrupt anxious thoughts or refocus your mind on the truth when you feel like there's a loop happening? Maybe like in the ride when you are anxious, like what helps you go back to God, interrupt that and go back to God?
Well, so there's been different ways, not just been one way. Sometimes when the first question you asked was like, what do we try to do? And
Mhm.
I'm a person that tries to fix it. And I like to say, like, right away, I'm like, I'll get on my knees and pray. Sometimes is just knowing that I can't do anything, but I have to come to that realization after trying things. And that it shouldn't be that way, right? Like those times have helped me. They still happen where it's like, okay, something's happening, let me see what this, let me figure it out. And then I'm like, the conclusion is you don't know. You can't know. And so the realization that I can't know hasn't taken me to like just give up. It actually has taken me to God, right? To be like, man, Lord, this is my limitation. Like I can't. Now, God doesn't want me to do it, like doesn't want that to be the process. He would want me to come to him first. But those moments have helped me develop moments where I can, pray about it, where I can be like, you know what, I will be all right. Um, and again, it comes to those. For me, I mean, I'm not saying it just to say it. It really is safeguarding those devotional moments because God speaks to you a lot. Like He speaks to you. So me going over those moments, I journal a lot, and then claiming those promises later and be like, man, you did tell me this the other time. Sometimes we have conversations with people and we forget what we say, or like, and we have conversations with God, but it's normal for us to forget. That's why He always uses, lingo like remember the Sabbath or do this in remembrance of me, because we tend to forget based on circumstances, and I've come to learn that we're humans. We're not. It's not about not feeling. It's about not being excited, not being anxious, not fearing. Like we're going to have all that. It's what have I developed to when that happens. I can safeguard my soul, or allow the Spirit to safeguard my soul, but that takes practice. You said something that doesn't happen overnight, and it doesn't. So I will still get you know fearful thoughts. I still will get like stressed a lot, but like I've been able to develop that relationship with God where He reminds me, "Hey, I got you." And sometimes it's not like I think who said it? I think some of you guys said it here. It was amazing. It's surrounding yourself with the right people because God speaks to you through His Word, but He speaks to you through the right people also. So if you're under the right, you're with the right crowd, the Lord will speak a word through them and be like, hey, and he does that with my wife. He does that with my mentors. He does that with, that circle where they tell me it's not that big of a deal. Sometimes you need that nudge, right? Sometimes, because it isn't. Sometimes we'll make a huge problem out of it and they'll be like, it's good. God's got you in the back. And sometimes it is a big deal, but even then they'll be like, hey, so surrounding yourself with those people, being vulnerable with them, having a church family that supports you, that you can be that safe, right? That they won't judge you. It's like, bro, you're a pastor. Like, why are you worrying about this? No, that it people that could tell you no, it might be difficult, but God's got you because of this, and that, and you're like, oh, praise God. So those things, having a good community, having a good devotional life, I think those have helped me.
Yeah, and sometimes we need somebody that will not mi minimize, undermine like your problem, because sometimes it may not look big for somebody else, but it's big for you. So having somebody that's going to brush it off and say, "Hey, you're a pastor, you shouldn't be," but sometimes you do need that person that say, "Hey, come on, this is
Yes.
not a big deal. Let's give it to
Correct.
God." So something. God is wise enough to know what is actually happening to you and will put the right people. When you're praying, when you're asking to God, He will put the right people. Now, one thing that you said about journaling, I needed a visual at one point in my life. Actually, this was an idea that I had because many of you know I have rheumatoid arthritis. And when I first was diagnosed, it was really bad. I was in a wheelchair for like 4 years. I couldn't move anything. It was really a tough time in my life. I still have it, but I'm able to move around. I can't walk for too long, but I can have a normal life. That was the deal I made with God. I was like, God, you don't want to heal me. I don't know why. You can't, but you don't want to. There's got to be a reason. The only thing I ask, allow me to have a normal life. Allow me to be able to continue serving you. And He's been faithful. I have never, ever, ever had to cancel anything in the lines of work for God, preaching, teaching, whatever it is. I never had to cancel because of my disease. But there was a time that was a really, really dark time. This was right at the beginning, the first 3-4 years. And that got me depressed, obviously. I'm very active. I'm the type A personality. I want to be on the go all the time. And I couldn't do anything. I mean, literally to go to the bathroom, my husband had to carry me. And he's still with tears in my eyes because it was painful, even with him carrying me. So I was depressed. And I don't know where this came from, but one day, because when you are in that dark place, it feels like there has never been light and there will never be light. It's like when you're there in that loop, in the anxiety, in the depression, it feels like there is no tomorrow. The only reality is the dark that you are in right now. So, and this is where I got the habit of always having a calendar. Look, I have this calendar right here. It's a whole year calendar that I have. And what I started doing, I was like, is this only my mind or is really never a happy day? So I started for every day, I really had a depressed day. I would put a frown face. Then I had a happy day. I would put a happy face. And looking like from month to month, there were months there were 27 frown faces and just 3 happy faces. But within time, I started seeing more happy faces. And that visual, even if it was for the visual of tomorrow is another day, tomorrow is going to be better. And just having this idea that the darkness, it will not consume me. But having the visual of the calendar helped me. And slowly that it started to show more happy days than sad days. And today I would say that I have 29 happy days and 1 sad day. But when I get to that sad day, it still feels the same, like it's never going to get better. But now I know, hold it. It already happened in the past. I know it's going to happen again. Kind of like what you mentioned. He did it before. He sent somebody told me. So that gives us hope to continue. I lost 2 of my panelists. One didn't have connection. I don't know what happened to Abby now. She's trying to tell us what happened, but sometimes it's connection. Yeah, she has to go as well. Terry, you said that God's got my back. I love Forrest Frank. I love his music. They're awesome.
Yeah, I couldn't help but to
Yeah.
type about the Lemonade song by Forrest Frank because that song, no, it's a must hear because it basically says when life gives you lemonade, like thank God that our God makes lemon. Well, life gives you lemon, our God makes lemonade. And that is something where I feel like when you have that in the back of your mind that regardless of whatever you're going through, God's gonna take it and he's gonna make lemonade. He's gonna take what the enemy meant to hurt you, meant to crumble you. He's gonna add a little sugar, add a little water, add a little sweetness, and then it's gonna actually become pleasurable for his glory. And like it's one of those things where it's like it's amazing to see what God does because I always say that when you are down in the ruts or when things look like it's falling apart, sometimes you just gotta look up and be like, God, I can't wait to see what you're gonna do with this.
Amen. And have that in the back of our mind and have the
Mhm.
attitude, and remember that. Johnny, if we know that, like Pastor Mario said before, Jesus is the Prince of Peace. He is ready to give us peace. Why do you think it's so hard for us to just receive it? We try to create it, but we usually make it worse. Why do you think it's so hard for us to just receive his peace?
That's a really hard question. One thing that I definitely like to remind myself is that he is the Prince of Peace. And the wording of that is very critical because the word prince has some kind of connotation of authority. In other words, he's like the authority over peace, right? So when I am in a situation where I need peace and I'm looking for where to find it, and the times where I try and do the right thing and seek peace through Jesus, it definitely is a big emotional support to me knowing that if I'm seeking peace, there's no greater authority of peace than Jesus himself. So knowing that Jesus already has my best interests in mind, that he's all loving and is abundant in his love and his generosity, knowing that he's just ready to receive, that is a big support to me. Now, why do I not receive it sometimes? Why do I look elsewhere? That's really hard. I think that some people might answer that they may not feel deserving of his peace. I think some people would
That's
answer they
true.
don't know how to accept it. And I think other times, and this is more of my scenario, it is that we have it disposable and available to us, and maybe we are living it, but we do not, what's the word I want to use here? We're not aware that we are living in his peace, you know, because for some of us, maybe the worst thing going on in our life, which could be very, detrimental or emotional, so maybe something relatively minor. And we focus on that one minor detail and we kind of blind ourselves to everywhere else in our life where we are completely at peace. So I think different people have different answers. For me, it's more of a very honest answer of I believe that I have his peace. I'm just blind to it in many areas. But I think it's very fair to say that some people look elsewhere because they don't feel deserving of his peace. And many of my young people in Greenville, Spartanburg tell me that. They say, Johnny, I know that he wants to give it to me. And I know that if I opened my heart, I could receive it, but I don't feel deserving of it.
Mm.
And that's a very interesting thing that I hear here in the upstate.
Yeah, and that goes with a lot of things. It's not only peace, like sometimes forgiveness, mercy. A lot of people feel like I don't deserve it, and that will take away your peace. That's very true. Lloyd, how can peace become a witness in your relationship or online presence this week?
Um, hmm. Can you repeat that question one more time?
How can peace become a witness in your relationships or online presence this week? Like, how can you show the peace of God in you? Like, we're moving
Hmm.
to the practical side because we're almost done here.
Okay.
So it's like how you can say you, but how can we,
Hmm.
uh, how our peace become a witness to people?
So I'm definitely happy you're asking this question to me. Because I feel like this is something where right now it's in the middle of my busy season, and like a lot of deadlines are due. It's coming up, and it's something where it gets only more chaotic as it gets closer and closer to the finish line. And it's one of those things where, for me, the way how I try to like, because the storm is going to happen. It's going to happen regardless. But to me, God's peace is like a lighthouse. It stands there, it's always there. And it just matters, are you looking at it? Are you focused on it? And it's something where I know for me, anytime when I feel uneasy or I'm like, whoa, like I always call it like I always say, like I always call it like when I feel off. And that means it's like, hey, it's like anytime when I feel off, I go back and say, did I spend time with God? Like, did I do my devotionals this morning? Or like, or there's other times where I'm like, hey, I feel a little bit off. Let me play some Christian music while I'm working. Let me sing some Christian songs, have it in my heart going, or play a sermon. It's something where it's like there's really no right or wrong way to focus on God, but it's just to be intentional, saying, hey, this is going on. I'm not blinded to what's going on, but let me try to focus on God, because it's something where it's like He will give you that stillness in your situation that you will see you have piles of work. You'll see the bills are coming in, and you'll be I can't describe it, but you'll just look at it and you just won't care about it. Like you'll care, but it won't come across as you care. You'll just
Why
be
why pay
nonchalant.
why pay the bills? Just relax.
No. It's one of those things. Is I guarantee, if we all think about it, we've all had times or scenarios in our life where we worried about something, and then God handled it in the end. And
Yes.
God's like, how many times are y'all going to put down payment on a problem you're never going to have? So it's one of those things. It's like sometimes just giving it to God and let it go. Like just say, hey, you know what? Here you go, God. I prayed about it. I give it to you. I'm going to act like a little child, because a little child doesn't go home and say, Mommy, Daddy, are you going to make enough money to put food in the fridge? No, a little kid's going to be like, I'm hungry. And they're going to wait for their parents to feed them. They're not going to be like, Mommy, Daddy, did you pay the light bill this month? I want to play video games. No, they're just going to plug in their system and just play video games, or turn on the TV. And I feel like sometimes we have to do the same thing with God, where it's like, hey, you are our great provider. So you are going to provide. You're a good God. He tells us how His plans for us is to prosper us, not to harm us, and all the stuff that He will do. So sometimes we just gotta take Him at His word and say, hey, you know what? You say you're a good God. You say you'll give us good gifts. I'm gonna bring my faith into the situation where it's like, yeah, I see the storms happening, but I'm gonna look at you. The same way how, like, when Peter was walking on water, I'm gonna look at Jesus. I'm not gonna look at the storm, because you're gonna sink. If you look at what's going on in this world, you hear about hurricanes, you hear about so much chaos, school shootings, and
Mm.
like it's out, people robbing the jewelry bank in Paris. Like how? Like, but when you focus on God, certain times people look like everything will just fadely dim. It's just like that song, like, when you turn your eyes upon Jesus, everything in this world is going to fadely dim, and it's something where it's like He'll handle it. He'll handle it.
Yes.
Sorry for that rant.
No, you're good. You're good. As the last question, very quickly to Pastor Mario, as we head to the holidays, they usually challenge the peace of a lot of people. What can we do differently this time as we are getting into the holidays to protect our peace?
So I think this kind of has to do with the question you asked last time, and I'm pretty sure like it's helped me a lot. Again, I don't mean to overemphasize that I stress. I'm a stressor. I'm a person that stress, but I'm not where I want to be. But the saying, I'm not where I want to be, but I'm not where I used to be. Praise God. And one thing
Yes.
that helped me is a lot is gratitude.
Mm, love it.
Like that, an intentional attitude of gratitude, not like Thanksgiving once a year type attitude, but gratitude, but like a daily, like an actual, like I strive to every person, like just a small tool, every day, thank God for three things. And they have to be different than anything else than the previous days. And they can't be too generic, and they have to be the the smallest things. Like I'll thank God for like, thank you for the clean water that I get to go drink downstairs and my like all those little things, right? Because they show his provision. Like when you show that God has provided, that God is giving you, like you're grateful for. So I think just practicing like this is what I have. We're blessed. I have all these things for the holidays, right? Um,
Yes,
it it
yes.
it defeats our whininess because we whine a lot. Man, are
Oh,
we whiners? Like
yes,
we
we
whine
do.
a lot. But I think we whine because we don't have this, or look at this went wrong, or the airplane ticket, this and that. Like, man, I'm all this stuff. I'm not gonna make it in time. I have to host. Look, my family members messed up the sofa. I don't know all this stuff, and it's like, dude, I have a home. I have life. I can chew. I can actually eat. I can taste this turkey. Like all these things. Like these are details with people. They don't. A lot of people aren't going through. They're suffering all that. So I think having an actual, like in a practical way, an intentional attitude of gratitude as the holidays come up and things will come up. It's like I have everything I need, man. I'm blessed by the King. So it's a little something.
That is perfect. And actually, lack of gratitude also robs our peace. And that's why it's one of the episodes, a couple episodes from now, we're going to talk about just gratitude because that also robs our peace. We can do that. Or I'll come to you just a second, Lloyd. I actually like Terry's idea too. You just go on vacation, come back when the holidays are over. I think that is an even better idea, Lloyd.
I think it's profound that you said, Mario, about just focusing on gratitude. Because I know from a neurological research, they said that gratitude and anxiety cannot coexist in the brain.
Mm,
So it's either one or
mm,
the other. You can't be grateful, and it's something where it's like when you think about what's written in the Bible where God says give thanks, it's like he legit, if we legitly do what he tells you, if you just give thanks, your brain can't fathom like anxiety. And it's like and it's like this is one of those things is when science backs up what God already says, you can't that's like chef kiss like.
Yes.
Hmm.
Guys, our time is up. But this was an amazing conversation. I want to thank all of the panelists, those that have left already and those that are still here. I know, Terry, I want to stay longer. We are going to meet next week at the same time. It's 3 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And I just want to start putting a plug in that I'm going to be starting a Bible study soon. So if you're interested in receiving Bible studies, the same number that you text to receive the links every week for this Bible study, if you text the word Bible 101, you join the Bible study link group type of thing. And once I have enough people interested in Bible studies, I'm going to start another Bible study group. So if you're interested, usually I do in a weeknight, usually it's a Tuesday night. But thank you all so much for being part of the online church. And let's continue the mission, trusting Jesus, accepting and receiving his peace, being thankful for what we have and not allow anything else to rob our peace. So thank you all, and I see you next week.
Bye everyone.
Thank you very much.